Hey, hey, hey. You know what time it is.
It's time for the heart to heart journey to Unconditional Love Podcast.
That's right. I am your host, the late bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And Harlan Brown, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Late Bloomer? What's going on?
Hey, man, living la vida loca. Living la vida
Okay,
loca,
yeah,
man.
you doing it?
Yeah, listen, we've been doing this podcast and the same episode. This is probably take, what, 32?
We up there.
It's crazy
We've,
because
we've had our challenges.
since we started, we've only had only a couple of times we had to do more than one take. We've always done it in one take, whatever. So I always take signs. I don't know if that's a sign for me to slow down. I don't know if that's a sign for us to, kind of hone in a little bit more, get more closer to God, do whatever. But we need to do whatever we need to do to make sure we get this information out to the masses. So let's just jump right in it. How about we do that?
Okay, let's do that.
All right, I'm gonna start with the scripture this time, and the only reason I'm gonna start with the scripture because it's gonna be, this is the scripture we're gonna use when we're talking about image, and continue to build on this one. I think this one covers for every podcast that we do on image, and I wanted to keep it on this because I want the audience to understand that Genesis 1:27 is a foundation of what image is anyway. So
Right.
it's that platform, it's that foundation, it's that that core that you stand on, that a lot of us don't because we don't really understand what's going on when we have this. So if you can read that to the audience, this scripture, that'd be great.
Awesome. So it's Genesis 1:27 says, God created mankind in his own image. Male and female, he created them.
Yeah, and we talked about image and people creating image. I don't know with the 32 takes that we did that I talked about my image, and a lot of times I've portrayed myself. I've been guilty of this. I've portrayed myself as that really shy, innocent guy in the background who's quiet and is an introvert. I am that. Don't get me wrong. I am that. However, when I get around my family, when I get around people I'm comfortable with, when I get around, friends or I'm on a team or something like that, I could be that guy, the life of the party, so I know what it is for to have an image. What about yourself? Have you created an image of yourself that kind of defines who you are, but really doesn't define who you are?
I think for me, it is more of maybe it's first impressions. I don't know if I'm creating an image. I think it's maybe first impressions. I think because when you first meet me, I could be very reserved, kind of on a quiet side, but I'm not that. But I
Oh, we
think
all know that you're not that. Yeah.
I think I think for me, when I come into a new area, when I'm introduced to a new surroundings, it's for me, I'm a kind of a quiet read the room type of person. So I kind of am a little bit reserved. I am a little quiet. But like I said, once you get to know me, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've had many people say, when I first met you, I just thought you were so quiet. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah, I think what I wanted to get the audience to understand is God already created you in His own image, so He's already
Yeah.
given you an image. You don't
Right.
need to recreate another image, and I think we do that for whatever reasons that we have. I know the reason I have it is I don't know. I like being reserved and in the background. I don't really like being out there like that, but when I have to, it's fun. So I get it, but what I wanted to say, and in this segment, in this podcast, is to say that's temporary.
Yes.
Because at some point, your real true self is going to come out,
It
whether it's
bubbles
through
out.
adversity, whether it's through grief, whether it's doing being angry at someone, especially angry. When somebody gets angry and you see somebody split, you be like, "Wait a minute, is that little little Susie that don't say nothing to nobody, is nice to everybody? Is she cursing somebody out? So it's gonna come out. So you can build an image all you want. However, that image at some point is going to, it's temporary, is going to be exposed. And that's the word that I use, exposed, because I think that's really what you have when you talk about images. What do you think about that word? And when it coincides with the word image.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think that images can't uphold themselves because it's something that you've created. And like you said, in an event of any kind of adversity, then you will be exposing your true identity, right? The images no longer can protect you. That mask usually falls off um, within a couple of months. I mean, it's really hard to keep up an image and live an image because an image is created. And so as you go, you're creating, right? And your authenticity suffers behind it. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a good word, exposed.
Yeah, because think about this. Think about it, because we're gonna bring it back. I'm gonna hold it back in because I know I could get off but on my tangent, go on my soapbox. But we're gonna bring it back to within relationships, because this is a heart-to-heart journey to Unconditional
Right.
Love podcast, and we're talking about relationships, and we want to make sure that people are understanding themselves and do and bring some issues out to what may happen in their relationship. So when you build an image, let's say you build an image, and I know you was talking about one time in a previous podcast, but when you build an image and that's what the person met you on, you got to continue to uphold that image.
That's a hard thing to do if that's not who you are. That's
Exactly. So
really,
when
really hard to do because that's
it's
not who
really
you
hard
are.
to do.
And the person is dependent upon that. That's what attracted that person to you,
Yes.
right? And so you automatically just kind of stop doing the things that you was doing before, and that person is trying to figure out like what happened, like what's wrong. Like they
Yeah.
feel a disconnect because they don't feel that same level of communication. They don't feel that same level of connection anymore,
Yeah.
because this is something that you thought you was doing in your good person, my best person. If in a perfect world, this is what I would do all the time. But and I can do that now because I'm just getting to know this person and I'm putting my best foot forward. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, when all of those things change, you really throw that person off and you make that person feel like maybe it's something that they have done, or that connection is no longer there because they don't see those responses. They don't see those things that they had in the beginning. So
Yeah.
they
I'm
don't
gonna
know
give
what
you a perfect example. So this is tax time. Everybody doing their taxes and getting their stuff. You start dating somebody, and you go to the high class restaurants, and that person, you go there all the time because you got the tax return. You feeling good. You can spend some extra
Mhm.
money. You're doing that, and you continue to take this person out, going to these high restaurants. Oh, we went here, we went there. Oh, he took me on a trip, and and then all of a sudden, when that money runs out, you're going to Applebee's, you're going to Chili's, and the other person's like, yo, what happened to this? I thought we was going out. We sitting in the upper decks in the concert. We not front row no more. Like, this is what happens when you create an image, because you at some point you're always going to get exposed, because it's hard to maintain that through the rest of your life, because reality sets in and your true identity comes out eventually. So if there's anything that I want to tell you, audience, is it's cool that you have an image and you created an image, but rethink that, because God already created an image for you in his own
Absolutely.
image. He created you in his own image, so you don't need to recreate another image. He wants you to walk in your identity of who you are and what purposes you have in life. So that's what I wanted to get across in this particular podcast about image, because a lot of times we can hold on. I've seen people hold on that image for a long time, and then all of a sudden, like you said, adversity strikes, uh, um, a death in the family, you're grieving, anything, you know what I'm saying, comes up, and then you run into somebody who really knows who you are, and you get exposed. It's either you're going to expose yourself or you're going to run into somebody that knows you from your past or whatever, and they're going to expose you. Like, oh, he not that kind. That dude, stop. He he broke. He asked me for $20 last week. You know what I'm saying? So be careful when you're creating these images, because they're not lasting. It's going to be revealed at some point. And why go through all the charades, especially in a relationship when you really want to get to know somebody and you really think that that's the one? I mean, what do you think?
I think that hits the nail on the head. I think it's all of the intricate details of getting to know someone, right? For me,
You already know how I feel about that getting to know someone, because everybody thinks that you need to take years and years to get to know somebody. But if you focus on somebody and you know exactly what's going on, you can get to know them pretty quickly.
yeah, you can
You may not know every detail from how many years they live, but where they're at in their life now, and that's what a lot of times people don't understand. You meet people where they're at right now, and you grow with them, in order to build a relationship. You don't go about what they were in the past and whatever, because I can sit here and tell you, hey, I've always had an image about somebody who I saw in the past who I was interested in. Like 20 years later, I'm still looking at them from that image, and they're not even like that anymore, probably. You know what I mean? They're probably a totally different person, but I still have that image in my mind of who they are, to say, man, she was this, she was that, she was this. But I get to talk to her, and it's like, oh, you're not into this no more? You don't do that no more? You know, like, I've grown up. Like I'm not in high school no more. What is wrong with you? Type deal. So we tend to keep people in the image that we saw them in, as opposed to meeting them where they are. So I know I went on my soapbox there, but I wanted to get that one out before I lost my train of thought.
That's okay, but it's true. We have to meet people where they are. We have to also understand, and putting your best foot forward, you're setting a precedent for that person, right?
You said the president, like the president. You said the president. I got to mess with you. I got to mess with you. No, I know you setting the precedent. Absolutely.
But I'm just saying, like, when you do that, you have the person, especially when you're first when you're first getting together, your first conversation, first couple of months, and everything is just hunky-dory and everything is beautiful, and just all the developments and stuff like that. It's the small things that I think a lot of people don't see. I think it's you wanting to know if I'm okay, or if you're checking to see if things are, how you doing, or just wanted to say, yeah, I know you have this big thing today. Just wanted to say, praying for you, hoping things will go great. Or in some cases, like with guys, it's like, oh, hey, I'm calling, but if you're busy, no. I mean, I have to look at that game, and you're like, okay, and then you call the next time, and the game is going to be like, yeah, I watch the game. Yeah, oh, okay. So what I'm saying is, let's keep how like my cousin always say, keep the same energy, right? Keep the same energy. Let it flow
right.
the same,
because that's what you attracted to.
I was important today, but not important tomorrow. Then it would keep me in an unbalanced kilter, because I don't know, like, really what's happening, right? So I think a lot of times we get caught up in those things too. So just make sure you don't sway away from who you are authentically.
And I tell people that
I'm just going to go over I'm just going to tear down everything and just be like, yeah, I want to spend time with you. But then when you're like, okay, well, this person really wants to spend time with me, and now I'm giving up my time, and it's just like, oh, I'm done trying to. No, I'm done.
You know what I mean? So and I was trying to get that. Yeah, I wanted to get that out because I didn't want to lose my train of thought. Basically, what happens is, a lot of times when people get together in their relationship, they feel people want to know what they want and what they have. And I'm gonna be to a lot of guys' defense and a lot of girls' defense, we have the checklist. The checklist is always going to come up in these relationship podcasts. It is, because a lot of us have checklists on what we want in our next relationship, or what we want from our current relationship that we're not currently getting. And we need to look, you need to step up, or we're not going to continue to see each other because I need X, Y, and Z. I need this to be checked off, this to be checked off, and that to be checked off. So I say that to say, a lot of times when there are conversations that are had, it's about what you have and what you don't have. Oh, I got a car, I got a house. Where you live in, do you have your own house? Well, if I had an apartment, am I not good enough for you? You know what I'm saying? Do you have your own car? Well, if I live in New York and I take the train and I don't want a car, there's something wrong with me. You know what I mean? So it's those little things that come up why this makes this important when you're getting together in a relationship as far as the image is concerned. So I say that to say this. A lot of times, when you're talking to somebody, talking to somebody, don't talk about that stuff. Don't talk about demographics. Don't talk about that stuff. Talk about other things that interest you. Don't talk about what somebody has, or how many kids they have, or how many siblings they have, or how many cars, or how many this, or what's in their bank account, or what type of job they have. Just have a general conversation with the person just to see who they are as far as interests are concerned, as far as hobbies are concerned, or just life in general. What do you think about life? That's a lot of times people don't have a conversation on what they think about life, and because they've lived a long life. Like, look, I lived this long, this time. Like, what do you think about life, and what do you think life is going, and things like that. Those are conversations that you have to show that you're not just wanting to know the superficial stuff that people have on the outside. So now I'll give you the floor because I know I'm going off today. I guess it's been since this is like the take number 38. You know what I mean? It's like I haven't talked in a while, so I'm getting it out. But I know our time is up, so I'm gonna give you the last words and this whole image thing.
I think that we need to really horn in when we think about images and our identity and what we're presenting. We actually we teach people how to treat us by the way that we portray ourselves and what our image is. What people can talk to you about, what people cannot talk to you about. If you're always telling me what you don't like and what you don't want, then that's not going to be a topic of conversation. Yeah. And to me, it seems like it's not even open for conversation. It's just like, that's it, bottom line. So I just feel like a lot of times when we're looking at image and we're getting with someone else and we have these first impressions, these images, these things that we do for belonging, whatever it is that we're doing it for, we have to remember not to stray far from who we are authentically. Like, I just think a lot of times we create this image that is nothing like who we are authentically, and we're constantly in the battle of trying to be something that we created instead of being who we are genuinely. And I think nobody can be the best you that you can be for yourself. Yeah. And God created you in such a way that, like, it's amazing how God created you, all of the talents and all of the gifts that he's given you. Why try to adjust that to make it fit with something when in all actuality, if you would just be authentic with it, you'd be surprised of how much more and how much more you can get from being yourself than trying to develop something that is just not who you are authentically.
Hold that thought. So we're gonna do something different that we haven't done before. Okay. Normally, we get these podcasts done, but we didn't even get to the points that we wanted to do. And I forgot. You think about that? We didn't even get to the points that we do. So we're going to take a pause and we're going to do part 2. So I know we're going to have the same clothes on, but don't worry about that. This is just part 2 because we didn't get a chance to finish what we had started before. So let me just go ahead and do that. And let's close out the podcast. And then come back for part 2. What do you think about that?
Sounds like
some parts that we haven't done before. So how do we close out the podcast? Trying to do something to keep in the same place, but when you actually do something, your place has no limitations. I am your host, Delay Bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And we'll see you in a few minutes.
I'm gonna see you.